Hi Dheeraj.
Hi.
Lovely meeting you. I am the
Yesh.
product marketer here. I try to understand the perspectives of people from industries to understand how they work in their particular industry. You being a KPMG auditor, I'd like to.
I was a KPMG
You was
auditor.
the KPMG auditor.
Yeah.
Maybe let's start off with introducing yourself.
So I'm into audit field for last 25 years. Worked with all big four. Now I'm running my own practice.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's been a journey for so far.
Right. So, how long have you been auditing TripGain for?
TripGain, the association started few months ago,
Hmm.
and it's growing for us, and hope to see further traction
Right.
during our journey.
Right. Understood. So when you audit again, like a travel and expense automation tool, what kind of controls do you look for?
See, there are typically four set of controls we look at from a travel claim perspective. One is authorization controls. Second is your policy compliances.
Hmm.
Third is your documentation controls, and fourth is detective controls. So, from authorization control, we mean that the travel has to be pre-approved,
Hmm.
and it has to be approved by the competent authority.
Hmm.
Okay, the approvals are within the budgetary limit for a particular department. Then we move on to the policy compliances. So typically, a company sets up a threshold for each level of employees.
Hmm.
Like grade A employee can't travel by air, or they will have to go by train.
Right.
And there are some cases where the exceptional approvals are also there.
Hmm.
So we have to ensure that the compliances we check, uh, the policy has been followed,
Hmm.
or if there are exceptions, it has to be approved by the management.
Right.
There are some cases where people book fake claims,
Hmm.
okay, and they don't give proper supportings for it.
Hmm.
So ensure that okay, the policies are being complied with. If there are very significant exceptions, we need to reach out to the senior management.
Understood.
Third is documentation control, that
Hmm.
you submit your claims, and this submission has to be timely.
Hmm.
It can't go, say, after a month or a 2 month period. So it can't go like this.
Hmm.
So you have to submit it on a timely basis, on a
Right.
weekly basis,
Hmm.
or whatever thresholds the management has set up.
Hmm.
And like there are laws, income tax and GST. Like income tax doesn't allow, say, liquor
Right.
to be used,
Hmm.
okay, consumed, and those expenses can't be claimed.
Hmm.
So we have to ensure that those claims are not coming in and it is not getting approved. GST says that all your claims have to be in the name of the company, only that you get the benefit out of
Right.
it. So we have to ensure that those laws are being complied with. And the next is detective control. Sometimes employee mistakenly or knowingly, they do duplicate claims for
Right.
one particular travel.
Hmm.
So we have to ensure that okay, how it is getting captured, how the management is getting comfort on, whether it is not getting reported twice.
Right.
So these are the typical controls we look at.
Understood. So you mentioned policy control, right? And people raise expectations sometimes, exceptions sometimes. So there are approvals that you mentioned that require senior level managers, but sometimes there will be excessive approvals that are there. So how do you kind of control that in terms of audit?
So if it becomes a norm,
Right.
okay, if there are many exceptions, then it becomes a norm. Then we have to ask management to relook at the policy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Whether this is suppose you say okay, all employees will not travel by train, all will travel by air.
Right.
So it becomes a norm for
Okay.
everybody.
So you make sure that the policy is relooked at
Yeah.
and then changed according to the
So
norm that has
yeah.
become. Right. So you'd also mention the merchant category thing. For example, income tax doesn't allow liquor, for example.
Yeah.
So with new tools coming in, there's card blocking that helps you audit it even better. Like for example, there are certain cards that the company procures, wherein a particular merchant is blocked. For example, a wine shop. If you go and swipe there, that merchant is blocked. So how is that helpful for you these days compared to previous when you
So
were auditing?
as per our documentary evidence, the norms which are set up, we not only look at that with the payment, employees can use their own personal cards, whether those claims are submitted for company
Right.
to process. Okay, employees can go and do whatever they want to do in personal life, but when they put a claim, it has to be as per the statutory norms which have been given, be it Companies Act, income tax, GST. There are multiple laws, so we have to ensure that okay, those are being complied with.
Understood.
So if even if you have blocked those cards and the limits are blocked, but if suppose employee goes to a hotel and along with food he orders,
Right.
so even that is not allowed. Or if you go for a client meeting and you claim it, that is also not permissible.
Right. Makes sense.
So that way we see okay, it is not being captured.
Understood. So you had mentioned the controls that you had. Maybe dive for our audience to understand the challenges that you might have faced while auditing.
Challenges, typically we have seen that there are duplicate claims. Okay, suppose in one employee is claiming twice, or for the same amount, same bill, two employees are claiming that amounts. Okay, sometimes you don't know whether the travel were personal or official. Okay, because it was not pre-approved.
Right.
There are rubber stamp cases, like the manager only signs off. He doesn't look at what are the evidences which have been incurred, whether the policies have been correctly followed or not. So there are multiple challenges we come across while doing travel claims. I've personally seen multiple cases like this, that people go above their entitlements.
Right.
Suppose your food is allowed as one limit is set up as 1,000 rupees, but every time we see a claim coming for 1,200 or 1,500, which is above your thresholds. So then management doesn't look at it. Okay, and then as a part of policy, it gets reported, and then it becomes a pain point for everybody.
But how do you kind of solve this?
So you have to keep on training the employees that okay, these are the claims. There are clearly set rules which have been given in all the structures where we define okay, these are the expenses which are not allowed, and this is the threshold. So if you are going above it, suppose your hotel entitlement is 5,000, and you go to a place where you are not getting hotel at 5,000, so you're getting it 7,000. So on a timely basis, you have to inform and take specific approvals.
Right.
That okay, this is the scenario, we are not getting it, and we are getting it at say 7,000. So yeah, so that approvals have to come in pre.
Right, but that's on the employee side. So you had mentioned the example of the daily allowance being 1,000 and the employees being overshot to 1,200. So don't you think the company should relook at the policy if it's becoming a norm?
So if it becomes a norm, and there are overshooting of expenses, then definitely management has to look at the policies. Okay, but it has to be like on a yearly basis. They typically review the thresholds, and that's how they review the guidelines for it. But in very specific cases, the employees have to look at what they are doing. In our case, I tell you, when I was doing my articleship, and our threshold was like 50 rupees, and for each meal, and we were doing something. We were working very late till 9:30. So we ordered food. Claim came to be 60 rupees per head.
Okay.
And our boss rejected it. And then we had to go, because when we order food, we typically get it from a restaurant. There are taxes above it.
Of course.
Okay, and then as a specific exceptional case, it was allowed. So there are cases where you will have exceptions, and it's up to the employees and the management how do we do it in the best interest of the company.
How difficult will it become? For example, the daily allowance is set per tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 city separately. In terms of the checks that you do, right? So it's easier if you have just one limit set for an employee, which is 1,000. What if meals is separate for tier 1, tier 2? What if cab allowance is separate, tier 2, tier 3? How difficult does it get for you to, look at these checks?
So you have to keep on looking at the policy documents altogether. That okay, what are the changes which is coming in, and the how the company. The first is the management has to get comfort on it. When the management gets is the employees have to be mindful that okay, for tier 1 I will get 1,000, I'll get 800 for tier 2, and it covers all the meals. Okay, so they should be first mindful. Then for us to test it, we look at it on a daily basis. Sometimes we combine it together and see okay, if he is traveling for say 15 days, and we see okay, how many days in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and we see okay, how much is the total entitlements, whether it is falling within that threshold.
Makes sense.
We are fine.
You've been auditing for so many years now. So you've probably come from paperwork to now tech, right?
Yeah.
So how easy has it made it for you, the tech that you're using today?
So the technology segment, I think for last 20 years I've been using.
Right.
Okay, part of bigger organizations, so we were using the tech tools, and while we do the audit, it has eased out a lot of burden from employees. Okay, typically we see okay, when we raise a request, it has to be pre-approved. Earlier, it used to be mail or in physical form. Okay, I've seen the memos, paper memos, and now we are seeing okay on phone. Typically, you get a request, you click on it, and then
approved or
then it is approved or rejected. So that way, the journey is there. What we look at is has to be proper audit trail. Okay, whether it has been approved or not. Okay, sometimes people don't take approvals.
Right.
Okay, or they take approvals from the lower authority. So there has to be system inbuilt checks. Okay, whatever thresholds you have defined, it has to be reported. It has to be catered in that tool, and there are clearly thresholds given. So if you are putting, I'd say, duplicate claim, it should raise alarm that okay, you have raised this claim earlier.
Right.
Same vendor, same amount. Whether you want to look at it, still the employees says okay. That it should come to a management that okay, this has come as an exceptional case.
Right.
So let the management look at those documents.
But all of this should definitely be covered in the audit.
Yeah. Okay. Typically there have been cases where people were in our industry also. We have seen that people were misusing it. They were taking office cabs and using it for their personal travel. So we have seen it, and we have seen people getting sacked. So it is always better to ensure that we comply with the rules of the organization. That is pretty much needed. By using tools, it definitely helps companies to scale up, and it is I think a very tedious process to review thousands of claims getting processed on a monthly basis or a weekly basis. It is a nightmare for the accountants.
And definitely it's a human tendency to kind of do fraud claims or duplicate claims.
Yeah, so nobody is watching.
Yeah.
So there has to, if there are good system and build checks, somebody is watching you.
Right. So you would mention what you would expect in a tool, in a T&E automation tool. Maybe deep dive a little bit more on what would you expect from a T&E automation tool.
Okay. So I'll look at approvals mechanism.
Yeah.
That okay, unless you pre-approve the tickets or any hotel booking can't be done. Okay. Pre-approval is one. Number two, I would say clearly the thresholds have to be earmarked. Okay, above this, it will not be approved by this set of manager. It will go to the higher manager. Next is we look at we should have say system check while employees say have to report the expense within 7 days. Okay, or 15 days, whatever threshold is defined. It should not happen that the employee wakes up after 6 months and give a claim. The manager doesn't respond. Remember, okay, clearly the receipts have gone out, because earlier used to be paper handwritten papers, now it is a printed one. So those things have to be taken care of. It helps in say reimbursement of claims, because the processes can be done a lot faster, rather than doing all the things manually. The senior management also knows, okay, there are exceptional cases which have come and they have approved it. Okay, we have seen people, well, we went overboard on some certain expenses. We had to go to the senior management to level up approvals, and we tell them, okay, this is the reason for it. We spend more, and we got pre-approved. So that way the processing gets better.
Understood.
Okay, and there are chances that, okay, duplicate claims are getting reduced. Fake claims, because if once you are for GST, if you are doing it, it has to be raised in the name of company. That helps, because otherwise it is money on the table. You are losing the GST credits. If the invoice is not in company's name, or the GST number is not mentioned, you will lose that claim. So those benefits are available for the companies also, if you use this automation tools.
Understood. So you mentioned what you expect from T&E tools. What would you say that it's good to have, but which is not there currently, that will help make your job easier?
So what to have, I think still I see a lag in saying duplicate claims, approval mechanisms. Okay, and some of the cases where the invoices, employees are using their own credit cards from using a third party vendor rather than the company accredited vendors, where then you lose out your benefits. There has been, because if you use company vendors, at least the claim authenticity can be improved, because there was one case where we see an employee booking a ticket for 4,000, while they claimed it for 14,000.
That's very difficult.
Yeah, so it is very, very difficult to track. So while you use the tools, the vendors are ethical and they will not get into these things. Some of the employees, to get some easy bucks, they get into that trap. That can be avoided.
Right, understood. Lovely chatting with you, Dheeraj.
Thank you.
Great insights for our audience, definitely.
Thank you.